You always take the seat facing the door. You tell yourself it's a preference. It isn't. Somewhere between the hello and the first sip of coffee, part of you is already mapping the exits, reading the faces, clocking who just walked in and whether their hands are visible. The conversation happens on the surface. Underneath, a second job is running. One nobody hired you for, and nobody can see. You're not paranoid. You're patrolling. And you never clock out. Most people walk into a room and see a room. A place to sit. A person to meet. For others, the same room arrives pre-sorted into a threat map. Angles, distances, who's too close, what's behind you. This isn't a decision. It's faster than a decision. By the time the thought, "Am I safe here?" would even form, the scan has already happened 3 times. The strange part is how normal it feels from the inside. You assume everyone does this. They don't. And the reason yours won't switch off has less to do with the room in front of you and more to do with a room you were in a long time ago. This has a name. Psychologists call it hypervigilance, a state of heightened, sustained scanning for danger, even when nothing dangerous is there. The word for its ancestor was coined in 1941 by psychiatrist Abram Kardiner, who studied soldiers home from war and named what he saw physioneurosis, a body still fighting a battle that had already ended. The nervous system, he realized, doesn't always get the memo that it's over. Hypervigilance is a smoke alarm that never learned the fire went out. And here's the part that changes everything. It means the alarm isn't broken. It's loyal. It's still trying to protect you. A team of researchers wanted to know what hypervigilance actually does to your eyes. In a 2014 study led by Matthew Kimble, published in the Journal of Anxiety Disorders, people were put into a heightened, on-guard state and shown ordinary, ambiguous pictures, nothing threatening in them at all. The vigilant group's eyes moved more fixations, spread wider, covering more of the scene, hunting for a threat that was never placed there. But here's the twist the researchers named a forward feedback loop. All that searching didn't produce calm. It produced more anxiety, which produced more searching. The scanning doesn't find danger. The scanning manufactures it. Anxiety tells you to scan for the threat, so you scan. And scanning a room hard enough will always turn up something. A look held a second too long, a tone you can't quite read, a door left open. Ambiguity, under a bright enough searchlight, always looks like danger. That evidence spikes the anxiety, which demands another scan. Researchers going back to the work of Ehlers and Clark in 2000 mapped exactly this. The vigilance keeps the fear alive by constantly feeding it proof. The loop is self-powering. It doesn't need a real threat as fuel. It only needs a room, and you, and the habit of looking. The exhausting truth is that the effort to feel safe is the very thing keeping you on edge. People assume hypervigilance means something is wrong with you, that you're wired anxious or controlling, or just can't relax like a normal person. That framing is not only unkind, it's wrong. Hypervigilance isn't a diagnosis you have. Clinicians are careful here. It's a state, a symptom that shows up across trauma, anxiety, and ordinary high stress. And sometimes it's simply the residue of an environment where scanning genuinely kept you safe. It's worth being honest about the limits of the science, too. Researchers can measure the behavior, the eye movements, the startle, more reliably than they can measure what people report feeling inside, and the two don't always line up neatly. Hypervigilance isn't proof you're broken. It's proof you once needed to be careful. Hypervigilance rarely announces itself. It hides inside habits you call normal. First, you always know where the exits are, in every room, without trying. Second, you read faces and tones for microshifts, catching moods other people miss entirely and exhausting yourself doing it. Third, sudden sounds hit you harder than they hit anyone around you. Fourth, you replay conversations afterward, scanning them for the threat you might have missed live. Fifth, rest feels unsafe. The moment you fully relax, a part of you flinches, because dropping your guard once had a cost. If several of these landed, notice what they have in common. Every single one is a skill. You didn't fail at calm. You got very, Very good at watching. Here's what all that watching costs. Attention is not infinite. Recent research on hypervigilance shows the mind runs on a kind of budget between external attention, the room, the faces, the exits, and internal attention, your own thoughts, your body, your sense of what you actually want. Turn the external scan all the way up and the internal channel goes quiet. That's why hypervigilant people can describe a stranger's mood in perfect detail and have no idea how they themselves feel. The threat map crowds out the inner one, but a budget cuts both ways. If attention can be pulled outward by old alarms, it can also, slowly, with safety and practice, be invited back in. The alarm can be thanked, and then gently turned down. You still take the seat facing the door. That part may never fully leave, and it doesn't have to. But you can start to notice the scan instead of obeying it, to feel your eyes reach for the exits and, just sometimes, let the coffee be the thing you attend to instead. Hypervigilance was never a flaw in you. It was a younger version of you, still standing guard at a door that closed a long time ago, waiting to be told the shift is finally over. You're the one who gets to tell them. You're not paranoid. You were prepared, and you're allowed to stand down now. If any of this is heavy to carry, you don't have to carry it alone. A doctor or a licensed therapist can help, and support lines are listed below. You're not broken. You're documented.